Can you hear me?
Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. We are the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey for 2 years. We appreciate everybody joining us for this second anniversary show. We have some wonderful guests with us who we will introduce momentarily. But before we do that, I want to bring into the show my good friend, Mr. Drew Crawley.
Howdy.
Drew, what's up, buddy?
Oh, another beautiful Wednesday in Kentucky.
Yep.
Work week is halfway over, and I didn't work Monday because of Labor Day, and I'm not working Friday because birthday. So I'm going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Very short work week.
Your birthday is Saturday?
It's Saturday, yeah.
Right.
We're going to go down to the lake for a couple days with some buddies and get into general debauchery, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and Caitlin, your better half, her birthday is Sunday, right?
Sunday, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we've got lots of plans.
Did you plan it that way? It's like
yeah. I think we had very little to do with that. But I don't want to talk about what my parents had to do with it. That's uncomfortable for everyone. So we'll just move right on from that question.
Yes, yes, we will. But I want to take a moment and congratulate myself on hitting the go live button when we actually started the show. So we didn't have a wonderful, wonderful show between the five of us. And then 15 minutes later, allow you to join in on the fun. So you're welcome. But I want to tell you about a few things as we're getting rolling. First of all, the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey enthusiast, the bourbon fan. Distillers Talk. It's a show with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. They have distillers out as guests. Imagine that. They'll talk about anything and everything from the standpoint of distillation. It's a great, great show to geek out on if you want to learn more about how what's in your bottle actually got there. My Whiskey Den with Pat and Mike and Mitch every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king. Join in with the fun. They have great tastings. They have wonderful guests, all around good time. And the folks in the chat are always very hospitable. New to Bar Cart Co-op is Whiskey in My Wedding Ring with David Levine. David is a super smart guy. He knows his stuff. He's a great reviewer, and we're glad to have him a part of it. We have a couple of other shows from Alan. One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, where you can send him questions about anything distillation, and he will answer them on YouTube. And also, if you have ghosts, you have everything. Not necessarily a whiskey show, but a spirit show. So be sure to check all of those out and a little bit more about our show.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming out, which do come out every single Wednesday on all of the services: Spotify, Apple Music, Google, maybe Amazon, definitely YouTube. And always hit that like button, but hit it an odd number of times. So then that way it stays as a like.
Thanks, Mike. Now, the thing that we need to know about Mike is Mike's beard is now at Amzie levels. You know, this is getting extraordinary. I think he just wants to be like you, Amzie.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah. Speaking of Amzie, let's introduce our guest. Amzie Wenning is here with us. Say hey, Amzie.
Hey, Amzie.
Thank you very
for
much.
having me tonight.
Thank you for being on. I'm glad that you're over your bout with COVID. That's never any fun. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Morgan Wade, thanks for coming on with us. Your first time on the show, right?
It is, and I am still very nervous.
Well, yeah, because we're real professional show here, so you'll be great. I've seen you do whiskey tastings, and you're very intelligent and you speak well, so you'll be a whole lot better than the rest of us, except for perhaps America's favorite redhead, Jolee Kasprzak. Hey, Jolee.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you
Yeah.
okay. And
Okay.
and your picture is not frozen or anything of that nature. So we're
Okay,
we're
good.
really happy about all of that. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about narcissistically talk about our own show, and just pat ourselves on the back for doing this for 2 years. But we're also going to talk about some of the organizations that these fine guests are involved with and get updates on what's going on with them and ways that you can jump in and have fun and jump in and help out. We're also going to talk about, considering it's a second year, we're going to talk about sophomore albums. So your favorite band, your favorite artist, that debut album, you may have really liked it, but what about that second album? So we're going to talk about the sophomore albums, the second albums from some of our favorite artists. And feel free to drop some names in the chat and tell us what you think. And if that's not enough, we're going to tell you what our second whiskey was. So everybody has the when I first got into whiskey, I was drinking Maker's Mark, or Jim Beam or whatever the case may be. What was next for you? So we're going to talk about what our second whiskey was as well. So that should be a lot of fun. But before we do that, let's get to know our guests just a little bit. So Morgan, tell us a little about you and what you do.
Well, as Kevin said, my name is Morgan Wade. For a living, I actually deal joints, for those of you that don't know. So if anybody's looking for a good dealer, no, actually, just kidding. I actually work in orthopedics for a living. I work for Zimmer Biomet. We are the largest orthopedic distributor in the world. We provide implants and instruments for orthopedic joint replacements. I have worked for Zimmer Biomet for almost 12 years now on the operations side. So I'm the one that runs around like crazy to ensure that everything is on time for every surgery, to make sure that the patient on the table gets the best quality of care to have a better quality of life.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
That's a noble profession.
Just a little crazy.
Maybe a little bit more up on the scale than drug dealer. So,
Hey now.
No, what will be interesting is when will YouTube jump in and shut us down, which could happen. But when I upload the show to the YouTube channel, they always do a scan of everything, and so who knows? We'll see. It'll be a fun experiment. Hey, Amzie, tell people about you and what you do, other than just being awesome.
Yeah. And beating Mike with my beard.
Well, that's
I mean, he tries, and so I do want to give him some credit for that.
Don't use your beard as a weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Morgan, first of all, thank you. My father just had total knee replacement about just shy of 5 weeks ago. I think tomorrow will be 5 weeks. So
Awesome.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you for dealing those joints to people. I know my dad feels much better now because of that joint. So I am the president of the Frankfurt Bourbon Society here in Frankfort, Kentucky, and also I'm a board member of the Bourbon on the Banks Festival. Yeah, those are probably the most important things that I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
and I'm friends with Kevin, but that doesn't
yes,
get me very
well,
far. So.
No, it doesn't. In some cases, it's a liability.
Yeah.
So, and the lovely and talented Jolee. Hey, Jolee, tell people what you do if they don't already know.
I am the winery manager at Patoka Lake Winery and the distillery manager for soon-to-be Old Homestead Distilling Company.
Outstanding.
And wife to the lovely Andy.
Wife to the lovely Andy Kasprzak, and enemy to the ever feral distiller Alan Bishop.
Everybody needs an arch nemesis, don't they?
Yep.
All right. So let's do some whiskey stuff first. And Drew, we hadn't heard a whole lot from you tonight, so let's start with you. What
Sure.
was your second bourbon? Or
Yeah.
second whiskey?
I'm sure I tried, a half a dozen or more before, this. But the second one I remember being like, okay, I've got to buy a bottle, was this one right here, the Four Roses small batch. So
Yep.
little different flavor profile. I think I had done the Jack and Jim thing most of the way through high school. My first bourbon was like Basil Hayden. I think that I got from, some cousin or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. But this one was the first one to kind of reach out and grab me. Obviously, we all know and love Four Roses and kind of what they've got going on. But the thing I liked about this one initially was it was gentle and it was available. I think whenever I started out in this hobby, it was like 23, 24 bucks, something like that. And it was at every Kroger liquor store, and I didn't have to make a second trip when I got my groceries. So it was more of a convenience thing. But now that I'm sitting back with it, it's probably been a year since I've had it. It's pretty stinking good, especially for kind of that price point. So I'm a fan. Got a little bit of the kind of a sugar cookie thing going, a little bit of the cinnamon nutmeg side of things. And then just kind of a real, like, I don't want to say floral because I think everyone just associates that with Four Roses because you hear the word rose and then you think floral. But there is kind of a herbal, flowery quality to it on the nose. So I'm a fan. I would recommend buying a bottle. It's a good one to have around.
Yeah. So you blew right past Yellow Label and went to small batch.
So Yellow Label for me in this house is a topping for cookies and brownies and pancakes and ice cream. That's an ingredient, not a beverage in this household.
Yeah, Shannon thanks you for saying smooth. Not saying smooth.
I sat through a whole episode about bad words to not use in whiskey. I was paying attention.
Yeah. You got your certificate of participation, right?
Exactly.
Your learning credits. All right. Jolee, how about you? Yours is a little different.
Yeah, so I made sure that you didn't say bourbon. You did say sophomore whiskey.
I did.
We generally start off with bourbon, and then we always move to Scotch. We are big Scotch lovers in this house. So I said it was the Oban 14. So that's it's delicious. It has like a honey quality to it. I'm going to open it and pour it right now, actually.
Yep.
I was spending too much time trying to find my Wi-Fi to pour, but yeah. So, yeah, I love it.
Cool. Morgan.
There we go.
How about you?
I had the pleasure of turning 21 in college in the great state of Kentucky. So, of course, my first experiences with bourbon were, Jim Beam, along those lines. But my first real thing that I fell in love with, that I brought home, honestly, the second thing, that was my game was Bullet Rye. I worked at a bar in college at University of Kentucky called Lana's. It's an Irish pub. If you're familiar with campus, you probably know where it is. It's been there forever. And there was a rep that came in for Bullet, and they made this delicious drink that I'm actually drinking tonight. That is Bullet Rye and lemonade. It was in the heat of summer, and this is literally the perfect summer cocktail. I also just like Bullet Rye by itself because it is spicy, which is a reason I like ryes. I think my parents are watching tonight, so they would agree that ryes are spicy like me. Mitch also probably agrees, but it's just an all-around good thing to have. It's just, it's solid all around. Yeah. Great cocktails, great on the rocks, just great neat. It's just a solid thing. And believe it or not, those of you that know Mitch know that this is his collection behind me, and it's part of it. I actually had to go buy this bottle today. I had one, and I was out. So that's quite the feat for those of you that know.
Yeah. Well, and Bullet Rye is an interesting, but the whole Bullet brand, the thing that surprises me because I didn't really pay that much attention to it is it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, every bar you go to, they have Bullet. They may have Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and Bullet, and that's it. But it's there, and I did not really think about how widespread their distribution is, but apparently it is. So Bullet Rye, interesting choice. I like it. Amzie, how about you, sir?
Well, I would say first of all, I really love the choices everybody else named. I'm going to go on a little bit of a limb today and talk about Wilderness Trail. So I've always loved Wilderness Trail, the products they make, their rye, their bourbons, and our friend Macaulay Minton down there, who was their single barrel curator for a long time. Macaulay just left recently to start his own place. And so this is going to be my sophomore thing I'm going to mention is really tied into Macaulay. He did great work down there, curated a great collection of bourbon, and he has recently started his new project. Today, just earlier today, I happened to stop by there and visit Macaulay at his new place, Dark Arts Whiskey House.
Look at that.
So I'm going to say for a sophomore showing, what he is doing down there is absolutely amazing. He has sourced a bunch of whiskey, hundreds of barrels, really, from MGP, from Wilderness Trail, from other places. And then a big thing he's doing is finishing those. So some of these barrels he has sourced, he is going to directly bottle. This one that I just showed is a straight bourbon whiskey finished with toasted Jules Fleur French staves. My French is terrible, but that's about as good as I'm going to get there. But I tasted a bunch of his barrels today, and it is just amazing stuff. He is going to basically allow people to come in, try all these different finished whiskeys, blend them if you want. He's going to have some blends on his own. I'm just blown away by what he is doing, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future there. So for a sophomore showing, I think it is absolutely amazing down there.
Okay. All right. That's a different take on the sophomore thing, but I like it. I like it. Now, is he open to the public, or is this just some sort of behind the scenes special thing you got because you're Amzie?
Well, I mean, there are special things because I'm Amzie, but no, it is open to the public, will be open to the public. Just look for Dark Arts Whiskey House, search that on Google. I mean, this is a very new thing he has going, so their social media presence will continue to grow. But yeah, it will be open to the public. People will be able to go down, sample barrels, do their own blends, buy pre-blended barrels, everything else. So,
that's very cool. I like that a lot.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I like that a whole lot. And that put that up there again. I want to see that label one more time.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
You got a so cool from Jolee. So that's something else.
I love Macaulay. I love what he's doing. He's so creative, and I love that he bet on himself and branched out. I love Wilderness Trail. That's why I say round of applause to Macaulay.
Yep.
Support him always. I love the guy. He's so genuine. And I love that he is completely doing his own thing, and is spinning. Like, if you know him, all of that makes so much sense, which is what I really love about it. So I have no doubt his palate is fantastic too. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
A different approach, but I thought that was a great example of a sophomore showing, and like I said, I think one of the best, and very impressed by what I've seen today.
Cool.
First visit down there.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to make the trip down there and see that and get him on the show. That'd be good.
Sure.
All right. So first of all, I want to show you my Bourbon Turntable T-shirt
Whoa!
that my
There we
wife got
go.
me. All right, so that's kind of cool. Now, when I first started getting into whiskey, I started with Maker's Mark and probably Maker's and Coke. And then one of the things that I went to shortly thereafter, it may not have been the second thing that I tried, but it was kind of the second thing that I got into, was the stereotypical bourbon bro Blanton's. See, and this is a letter N topper, so that means that it's really, really good. So Blanton's was the second thing that I really got into. This was back in the day where you could actually go in a store and buy it off a shelf. I have all the little letters on a stave, and I needed one more letter, and I was out with our friend Tom Cole. We were out, our wives and us were out at dinner, and so we were talking about that, and we said, "Well, let's just stop by someplace and see if we can find the next letter." And we went to the Kroger liquor store and walked in there, and they had a pallet of Blanton's. I mean, it was stacked up probably to the middle of my head, and in the boxes. So we just started opening boxes till I found the letter I wanted, and that was it.
What year was this?
Gosh, maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah, because no one has ever seen a pallet of Blanton since.
No.
Yeah, never.
No. So Blanton's, it's smooth. Sorry, Shannon. So if you got something in your glass, hopefully you have something in your glass. And I just want to thank you all for being guests with us tonight. I want to thank everybody that has been a guest on the show in the past and has watched the show and said nice things. If you said mean things, then shame on you. But thank you guys for 2 really fun years and a fun show tonight. Cheers.
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 All right. So the show, how we got started, I just would find myself, as I still do sometimes, sitting on my deck, listening to music, drinking whiskey, and I would just make Facebook posts about albums and kind of go into semi-deep dives on the album and semi-deep dives on the whiskey that I was drinking, and that seemed to get some pretty fun response. And every time that Drew and I got together, we were listening to some sort of music and talking about it, and drinking some sort of whiskey and talking about it. And so the show just kind of was a natural extension from that. And so we just started her up, and for a while there we were a trio, and Ben Eves was with us for a while, and then he got busy with his life as a distiller and decided he didn't have time for us anymore. So so it's been a duo, a Black Keys kind of thing for Drew and myself for most of the time the show's been around. But we've had some great guests on who spent some wonderful time with us and help us have a really good time, a whole lot of fun with it. Drew, anything stand out to you? Any particular shows or guests or anything of that nature?
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to sound so stereotypical here in a second, but there's just been some really cool highlights. We've gotten to meet some incredible people in this industry. Tried some whiskeys that I probably would never have gotten to get on, just because of distribution or, just not being on my radar because of this. But the real thing that I think has been a takeaway has been the actual real life relationships that have come out of it. I know it sounds like the last night at, youth camp in the summertime when everyone's leaving, but, there have been so many occasions where you and I have gotten together, and just met up with somebody that we've met through the podcast for a drink, or somebody that we DM'd on Instagram has become a friend. We get to see, Shannon when she comes through town. We get to see Mike and Patrick when they come through. And it's just really enriched so many experiences because I now have friends in all these places and have opportunities to spend time with them, whether it's over a drink or we're having dinner at Bourbon's Bistro or we're just, shooting the stuff back and forth about an album in a text message. It's just been a really good addition and benefit to my life. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah. And Shannon says 2 years ago she met us. I remember that. We were at Bourbon's Bistro out on the patio, and I was probably throwing remnants of baseball bats into the fireplace. Probably wasn't cold enough to have a fire, but I wasn't going to sit out there without it. But yeah, we've known Shannon for 2 years, so that's very cool. Anything from our guests? Not to put you on the spot, you don't have to say anything nice. You can just say that you've heard of the show, and that would probably be cool. But
what I love is that it has spurred on conversations within our own household over here, where we'll be talking about something and then it'll lead to music and it'll be like, what, that's a good topic for Bourbon Turntable. And so you kind of it's similar to your other friends that have podcasts. That'd be a good topic for this, but the topic for Bourbon Turntable seems to come up a lot more often. I think music is such a commonality for just humans in general. So when you get on and you talk about, your first concert, or what kind of music you grew up listening to, what kind of music you clean to, what kind of music your parents listen to. But we're always like, we should text Kevin and Drew. That'd be a great topic for a show. So yeah. I always love that.
Thank you, Jolee. Appreciate
that.
We have a question from the gallery. Is Amzie wearing pants?
Don't stand up.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see here in a minute.
Yes. Don't stand up, and certainly don't take a bow.
Oh my goodness.
But Drew, I agree with what you're saying. We have been able to meet some really cool people that otherwise we would not have met, which is the same for anything when you talk about whiskey. I think Amzie and I were talking about this with our wives a couple weeks ago at dinner, that, without this little whiskey interest, hobby, whatever you want to call it, there are a whole lot of people that I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Namely the four of you, right? And probably the people that are in the chat, and unless my wife happened to jump in. So that's been really cool. And I always look forward to recording shows on Sunday nights, because it's a good time to catch up and connect with my friend Drew. And that's always a highlight of the week when that gets to happen. So that has been really special to me. Selfishly, that's one of the reasons I like doing the show. But meeting the different people and trying different things and getting to know, the chance to talk with people like Todd Leopold or Nancy Fraley, and get musicians on here, Steve Gorman or Chris Tapp, and we've got some folks lined up that'll just be fantastic, that I think everybody will really enjoy. So we appreciate everybody's support and bearing with us and being a part of us for the last couple of years. So thanks to everyone. Now let's talk about one of the things we want to do tonight is talk about the stuff that you guys have going on. And so let's start with Amzie. Amzie, you've got a great event. Actually been to it a couple of times. Bourbon on the Banks Festival. So tell us about Bourbon on the Banks and when it is, what it is, how we get tickets, and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so yeah, Bourbon on the Banks. We started in 2019. Of course, 2020, there was a little bit of a thing that happened in the world, so we couldn't have it then. And we were kind of worried about that. We started very strong, and then 2021, it actually continued, and we beat our numbers for 2019. Last year, we improved again, and so we continue to do the same this year. But Bourbon on the Banks Festival is really a multiple day festival we have here in Frankfort, Kentucky. This year, we're going to start probably one day earlier out at Whiskey Thief Distillery here in Frankfort. That's going to be our big kickoff. We're going to have an event out there. I think probably a hog roast. If you haven't been to Whiskey Thief, great distillery, very hands-on compared to many of the distilleries you would go visit. So you go there, they thief straight from the barrels. If you like what you try, you can actually bottle your own from those barrels. So we'll have that, and then Friday night will be the gets a little confusing for us, the VIP term. So there's a VIP event, VIP auction Friday night. We're gonna have some people there. Let me see, at the Thomas Clark History Center in Frankfort, Freddie Johnson from Buffalo Trace will be there. Our mutual friend Kelly Tennille, who is one of the distillers out at Whiskey Thief, she will be there. Lisa Wicker, Andrea Wilson, Walter Zausch, owner at Whiskey Thief, will be there. Brian Hara, the author of what's it called?
Bourbon Justice.
Bourbon Justice.
Bourbon Justice. Yeah. So he's going to be out there. Denny Potter, all of those special people that will be hosted by Mike Hyatt, Big Chief, if you know him. He's going to kind of be the interviewer of all those people. So a big event that night, and usually there is an auction on Friday night to raise money for some charities in Frankfurt. The highlight of that will be Whiskey Thief is donating a barrel pick experience. So you can bid on the chance to bring a group of friends out to Whiskey Thief and do a barrel pick. You pick from several barrels, the one you like. That's it. It's yours. So bidding on that to have a whole barrel. I mean, I hope nobody bids against me, but it's probably going to happen. So that'll be the big thing. That's Friday night. And then also Friday night, there will be, now that's actually from 5 to 8 p.m. Also, while that's going on, 6 to about 9:30 Friday night is the Bourbon Street on Broadway event. That is a free community event. Street performers, people swallowing flames and swords, and acrobats and musical performers, food trucks, everything else going on Friday. So then Saturday is the actual Bourbon on the Banks Festival. So the VIP entrance there is already sold out. That gets you in a little bit early at 1 p.m. And then regular entry is at 2 p.m. So mostly distilleries. We do have a few breweries and wineries coming along as well. So if you have a friend or significant other that doesn't really care for distilled spirits, then they can either have some beer or wine while they're there. There'll also be food trucks there. We have some vendors selling bourbon-related products. We don't have any duplicates, so there will be one person selling bourbon barrel furniture, for example. There won't be two people doing that. There will not be two people selling bourbon candles, or bourbon-themed candles. It would only be one. But
will there be two people selling corn? Because Shannon's interested in the corn.
No, well, I don't know about the food trucks.
Apparently, that was a thing.
Yeah, they can only be selling different types of corn. I don't know. We had somebody doing like ears of corn last year.
Yes.
A big popular thing was the barbecue cart or food truck, and the one guy selling the barbecue souffles or whatever they called them, where it was like the layered type things. That was very popular.
Yeah.
But between the few wineries and distilleries, or I'm sorry, few wineries and breweries, and then distilleries, we have a total of over 70 places this year, mostly distilleries selling alcohol that are already on contract. So I think it's going to be a great event. So we have a lot of craft distilleries, some of the bigger distilleries. Your samples are included with the price of your admission. And so you find those various craft distillers you want to try and new products, things like that. It is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it is a great event. I've been a couple of times and a lot of fun. If you're into, the underground Kentucky whiskey scene, you'll see all the people that you know. And it's a great place to catch up with folks.
Amzie,
And I think a big thing too is that we do have out-of-state distilleries, and there's a little difficult thing with the law in Kentucky. So Kentucky distilleries can sell bottles at the festival. So what we have done with out-of-state distilleries is we have partnered with Capital Cellars, which is a liquor store in Frankfort. And so they have a booth set up. They work with out-of-state distilleries to make sure they have their product available. And those distilleries set up attached to Capital Cellars. So literally they will be in the booth spaces right next to Capital Cellars, where you can sample their products. And if you want to buy those, you can as well. Whereas a lot of the festivals in Kentucky are Kentucky-only distilleries. We have worked with Capital Cellars here in Frankfort to provide those out-of-state distilleries the opportunity to sample and sell their products as well.
Yep. Good deal.
Amzie, do you guys give away a scholarship as well?
Yeah, so Bourbon on the Banks Festival is a not-for-profit festival. Last year, we gave away over $50,000, and that was to the Bluegrass Community Foundation. We also do give scholarships away to people from Frankfort or Franklin County who are entering a distilling program at an accredited university. And then we also gave some money away to the White Oak Initiative, which is dedicated to preserving white oaks, which we have to have to make bourbon when it comes to a new white oak barrel. So
Yep. Very cool. It is a fantastic event. So check out bourbononthebanks.com. Is that right? Bourbononthebanks.com.
I want to check on that, Kevin. It might be bourbononthebanks.org, I think.
Okay.
All
right,
it is bourbononthebanks.org.
.org.
After our first year, somebody beat us to the punch and got the .com username there. But yeah, bourbononthebanks.org is the correct.
.org. Very cool. All right. Well, Amzie, that's great. Looking forward to that. That is October 7th is the big festival. The 6th are the all the VIP preliminaries. So be sure to check all that out.
Yeah, I think, Kevin, the big thing to remember there is the Saturday festival, which is the big bourbon festival on Riverview Park, is always going to be the first Saturday in October. Last year, the first literally happened to be Saturday, and then the VIP auction, the bourbon, the what do we call it, Bourbon Street on Broadway. That is always going to be the night before. But Bourbon on the Banks Festival will always be the first Saturday in October.
All right, that is fantastic. Thanks, Amzie, for sharing that with us. Everybody, go out there. I'll see you there. And we'll have a good time. Morgan, tell us about your organization, because this is very cool. Really excited about what you're doing. And so tell us about this.
All right. So I'm actually going to kick it back a little bit and start more with a serious question than anything. I know everybody on Facebook and on YouTube that's watching this live obviously can't raise their hand. But I'm curious, how many people have been affected or know someone who has had cancer or is currently in treatment for cancer? Yeah, a lot of people, right? In 2017, my life stopped when I heard the words, "You have cancer." I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. I'm now 6.5 years in remission because needless to say, cancer picked the wrong girl. But what helped me get through it, right?
Yeah.
Hope Scarves. Hope Scarves is a nonprofit based here in Louisville. We provide scarves for people facing cancer who have lost their hair going through treatment. So that way it gives them, that sense of hope. The cool thing is we're referred to as the Sisterhood of the Traveling Scarves because each scarf, this is actually the signature Hope scarf, is packed with a story or stories of the person or persons that had the scarf before them. Opening that Hope scarf really gives you that it's literally a hug and a beg, and lets you know that you're not fighting this fight alone. Our annual fundraiser, as Kevin has shown this a couple of times, is called Colors of Courage. This year it is September 22nd. It's a Friday. It's 7 p.m. at the Melwood Arts Center here in Louisville. So you're kind of wondering, okay, how does cancer and bourbon connect together, right? Every year as part of the fundraiser, we do something that's called the bourbon pool. It's super fun. Each bourbon bottle that's donated is assigned a number, and then people draw a number out of a basket. If you draw number 1, you take bourbon bottle number 1 home. If you draw bourbon bottle 100, you take bourbon bottle number 100 home. So you never know which bottle you're going to get. Sometimes you might get something super awesome. Sometimes you might get something super cool. But the other really awesome thing is sometimes you might get something you've never had before. Yeah. That's like the really cool part, because when you get something you've never had before, it gives you the opportunity to try something, and you never know, it might be your new favorite bourbon. So this is where we need help. We desperately need bottles donated. The more bottles donated, the more help we can get. So the other part of Hope Scarves is we do, provide scarves for all types of cancer, but our main focus is for metastatic breast cancer research. Our founder, Laura McGregor, unfortunately passed away last year from metastatic breast cancer. She had breast cancer, went 7 years in remission, and then it came back as metastatic and eventually became triple negative. It was heartbreaking to see everything that Laura had went through, because she was literally just this light to the world. And we want to keep that legacy going. It's given us more and more push than ever to provide that hope, as well as providing the funding. We sponsor research and clinical trials at Johns Hopkins, at Dana-Farber, as well as right here in Louisville at University of Louisville Brown Cancer Center. And we're expanding. To date, we have donated and had matched 1-for-1 $2 million.
Wow.
So there's no stopping us. But with your help, with donating bottles, we can raise that number, and we can hopefully get closer and closer every day to finding a cure for this horrible disease.
Yeah.
So
the question, and it's already been asked in the chat, is how do you donate? How do you donate? Where do you send bottles to? How do we make that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So bottles can be sent to the Hope Scarves office. We can post that in the chat, or it's also on their website at hopescarves.org. It is, I should know it off the top of my head, as horrible as that is. So we can get that squared away. You can send them directly there, but any bottle you can donate is a huge help to get that. Let me look up that address real quick.
I've got it right here.
Okay.
It is 141 North Sharon Avenue, Suite 101, Louisville, Kentucky, 40207. We'll post this all over the place so everybody can catch it. So, yeah, it's a very cool thing that you're doing. It's when I first heard it, when you were first telling me about it, I thought, oh, okay, you make scarves. That's fantastic. And then learned, oh wow, you're giving away millions of dollars too for research, and that's you're taking it to the ground level, the ground attack, the one-on-one support, and then you're also doing the things as far as donating for research, and it's just a very impressive organization. And you don't have to be, Alan said that he would donate bottles. You don't have to be a distiller to donate bottles. It can be something out of your own collection. Probably not, something off, reach for the top of your shelves if you're going to donate, not the stuff that, hey, this would be good in a cocktail. That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for things that people will be excited about getting when they're going through this bourbon pools, right?
So,
right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So how does as far as attending the event, are tickets still available, or is it sold out? Or
no, tickets are actually still available to attend in person. You can once again go to the hopescarves.org website, click on events, and it will take you right there to where you can purchase tickets to attend. And then you can also purchase tickets. I guess one positive of COVID, as crazy as that sounds, we actually have a virtual option. So if you once again go through the website, you can come up and it gives you a watch party host option. And that allows you to view the program part of it virtually, and gives you access to everything. So it's still a great opportunity to attend. No matter what, either in person or virtually. It's going to be a really good night. We have a speaker every year that, talks about how they face cancer. And this year is going to be a little bit different. It's actually going to be a point of view from someone who took care of his wife before she passed from metastatic breast cancer. So 1, get the tissues ready, but 2, it's going to be really empowering. And it's just going to be a good night all around. So hope to see a lot of people there in person. Hope a lot of people can also attend virtually, but most importantly, let's see those bourbon bottles flow. If you're in Louisville, you can drop them off Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Somebody will be at the office. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, however, and I can even come get them from you. Just any way we can get bottles donated to help out would be awesome.
Yeah, that's just super, super cool. Thanks everybody that's in the chat. Dad says he'll donate some stuff too. I imagine that this guy would have to step up as well, but I've heard his collection is kind of legendary, so he should be able to really give you something great. So that's very cool, Morgan. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate the work that you're doing with this, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing about it. That's just fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Now, just to make it kind of a creepy transition here, if I can find the comment. Oh yeah, here we go. Red, I like your hair. That's okay, Pat.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's real creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jolee, you're kind of breaking up there a little bit. Are you? And It's her turn.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, Andy kicked the plug on the router, I think. So, all right. Well, we'll see if she hops back in here. Hey, there she is.
Oh,
all right, you're back. Are you there, Jolee? Hello. Can you hear us? Apparently not. Okay. Well, we'll let, as soon as Jolee gets her technical difficulties figured out, we'll come back to her. And Alan says Pat ran her off. Yeah, well, probably.
He just creeped her out too bad.
I like your hair.
Does. Yeah.
Your hair's
that
really
affect on
cool.
folks?
Your hair's really cool. All right. So we're going to talk about, while we're waiting on her, we're going to talk about some music stuff here for a little bit. Hang on. You there?
I'm here.
All right. Awesome.
It's been a rough night.
It has. It's, we were accusing Pat of just running you off. So,
Of being yeah, thanks, Pat.
yeah. All right. So
Super creepy.
It just comes with the territory. So Jolee, yeah, here we go. She's the only one with an OnlyFans page. So.
That is not true. I just like to put that out there since
you know
you're talking about
projects and Morgan had the show way up here. Okay,
yeah.
You know, like we're doing great things for humanity.
Thanks, friends.
And then you know, then it goes a different direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jolee, tell us about some of the stuff that you're involved with right now.
So the biggest thing is would be Old Homestead Distilling Company, Patoka Lake Winery. There we are. Yep. We are owned by Steve Bartels, Heather Setzer, and Stephen Shirk. Our company owns Patoka Lake Marina. We own a winery. We're the only marina in the state of Indiana that rents houseboats. We have a lot of land cabins. We rent fishing pontoons, all that kind of stuff on Patoka Lake in southern Indiana. The winery is expanding. Right across the parking lot from the winery is a huge build if you come to see us. I know Amzie, did you get a chance to come down there, Amzie?
It's been a while, but yeah, Destiny and I were down there.
So we are building a 28-room hotel that is connected via a really large common area to what will be a distillery tasting room and then a distillery. And then that kind of forms an L shape. And then there's a brewery that also just opened. So there'll be a winery, a distillery, and a brewery all right on the premises there in one spot. And the distillery will be to a hotel. So super cool things on the horizon. You can follow us at Old Homestead DC. We're on Facebook and Instagram. I try and give right now. It started off as like your daily dirt update, and it was like, here's a bulldozer moving some dirt around because that's the content we have to put out. But there is quite the build going on. Everything is under roof. All the doors just became lockable, so we're moving along in our DSP permit application process as well. Just some
doors to the hotel rooms in the hotel, they're lockable now, or
no everything's framed. The plug is in there.
Okay.
Actually, our owners have been doing a lot of wiring themselves. No, you can't all of the outside doors. So like to the distillery and the tasting room and at the back end of the hotel, those are all lockable. So in order for us to move forward with our DSP permit, we had to be able to tell the state that we could lock everything up. So no one can get in if we don't want them to. Yeah. So that was kind of a big deal to us. And then we just got electricity as well. So We've got crews that can work in the evening time now, which is pretty cool. And after just working so long for so hard to get things wired up, to see actual lights in there is pretty cool. Things are starting to kind of take shape.
Yeah. I think when I was there, they had, they were fairly well along with the brewery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And they kind of had the stakes set out for where the distillery would be.
Yeah. So there is there's a definite footprint there now. It's a gigantic building. If you were to stand in front of it, the hotel would be on the left-hand side. There's a common room that you enter in. The check-in for the hotel will be on the left, and then you'll be able to see a walk-in humidor on your right. Inside that big area towards the back, there'll be food, and then just a lot of places to sit and chill. There'll be televisions. There's 2 giant staircases on the left and right that go up to the upstairs common area. There'll be a VIP area as well, and there's a big balcony too. So there's a lot of photos and stuff of it. You can kind of watch it go up, which has been the coolest thing for me. I've never been involved in a project this large before, or anything really from the ground up. I've sort of always come into things that have already existed. So to be part of it, literally, like, what's our name going to be? What's our logo going to be? What are we going to, it's been a really, really cool process to be part of. So,
yeah. Now, this is different than it was before, right? Or am I dreaming? I thought you had a different logo.
There's been some modifications made. I believe you saw when we were kind of testing it out. I showed it to you and some of our friends. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? We've adjusted the font somewhat, changed a few things. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you took my suggestions. It looks really good.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, you do.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really cool project. And I've managed a lot of things in my life. I've managed a pretty good size sports bar, restaurant, chicken shack, whatever you want to call it, chicken and beer. I've, managed several crews. And then managing the winery has been a really, really cool experience as well. So managing a distillery and being part of that is going to be challenging, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to it as well. And it's exciting to see the posts that you have. So check out Old Homestead on Instagram and Facebook. Jolee posts some really cool stuff to keep you updated on their progress. And we're excited for that and can't wait.
Follow the winery at Patoka Lake Winery on Instagram and Facebook. We have, we're known for our wine slushies. That's us. Yep. We're known for our wine slushies. We've got 22 tanks of wine slushies. You want to think like popsicle type flavors. So we've got like Great Pixie Stick and Jolly Rancher Watermelon. And so it's a lot of fun. The proximity to the lake allows us to do a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
So it's
very cool.
It's always chill in there. It's always a great vibe. It's very rustic chic, has a beautiful porch. The owners have really put a lot of thought into the aesthetic of things. And it'll be the same way with Old Homestead. Lots of older antique pieces for conversation pieces and things like that. So we really want it to be, comfortable. We took note of when we went into places, how that made you feel and, what we like and what we don't like. It's all being done by local construction and local people that are making our furniture for the hotel rooms and things like that. So, it's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on and tell us about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Something I'd like to throw in there is being somebody from Southern Indiana and going to the Patoka Lake area frequently, or the French Lick area. It is such a cool spot. And when Destiny and I went to visit, it was kind of the approach of the holiday season. So Jolee wouldn't talk to us much because she was putting up Christmas trees or whatever. But The silo rooms or suites or whatever you call those are unbelievable. Those are super cool. They're in like grain silos, so this round grain silo, and they're like what 2-story rooms that you rent.
Yeah, there's
that are completely contained in those. They're absolutely amazing and
Yep.
very cool places to stay and visit. So
yeah, there's 3 winery suites above the winery, and then we have 2 giant silos. I apologize to the farmers for not knowing what size they are, but they're 3 stories. The bottom stories are incorporated into the winery. We have an event center at the winery also, so people we call the downstairs of the silos, we call them our barrel rooms, and then the event center, so that gets rented out a lot for weddings and things like that. So and then there are 2-story suites, 1 in each silo. So yeah,
I mean, this giant round silo, and everything is built into this round silo, and the bedrooms are on like the top floor, right?
Yep.
But then below that's like the living room area. Like it's very cool, very neat.
Yeah.
So can't recommend those enough.
On PatokaLakeWinery.com. Book your lodging there. We've got a lot of other lodging around the winery. 3 large multifamily cabins just in back of the winery. We share a patio that's connected to a restaurant. So it is a very great spot, a very cool spot. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I will vouch that the wine slushy is extra delicious.
They are a good time.
Well, Jolie, thanks for updating us on that. Looking forward to it. When's the go live date for the distillery?
So the projected opening kind of for everything is by the eclipse of 2024. There's an eclipse coming in April. So I believe the law is you have to be in there producing for a while before you can open up things. So we really want to be open to the public, like full force by April, May. So yeah.
Awesome. So that's not that far away.
It really isn't. It really isn't. When you're watching something being built from the ground up like this, every little step is like a party. You know, you're like, hey, the porch has been poured, like the concrete, you know.
Right.
So, hey, it got a ceiling, like the production room got its ceiling the other day. That was a big deal. The fans came in, one was missing. So there's also a lot of eye-opening going on. My boss, Steve Bartels, he's the project manager, the general contractor, I guess you would say, for the whole project. And I really wouldn't want to be him because there's just so many random things that go wrong, or things that you can't find, like construction delays and things like that are a very real thing. So sometimes just random parts that he's spending, 3 or 4 hours trying to track down. And all of them have been in there. These last very hot weekends, they've been in there wiring up hotel rooms, and there is definitely blood, sweat, and tears that are going into this project. So it's going to be very gratifying to see it open and serving to the public.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to that. All right, we're going to transition to some music stuff, but Thad says he was standing in a line for Peerless Double Oak, and the guy behind him started talking about our show. I don't think that was me behind you in line, Thad. So, so we're going to talk about sophomore albums, second albums. We're going to just see what some of our favorites were. So, Drew, let's start with you. Tell us some of your favorites.
Yeah, do you want them all right now, or do you want to go around the horn?
Let's just do them all right now. How about that?
I love it. Okay. Well, the first one on my list, shocking absolutely no one, is the Zach Bryan record, and that was the Deanne. So if you know anything about Zach Bryan's music, his first record was all about his divorce. Second record is all about losing his mom, and I've just always been kind of connected to Zach's music. He's a kid from a small town in Oklahoma, kind of like me. And he likes to write sad songs on acoustic guitars, kind of like me. So kind of into it. But no, it's a great record. I think this is kind of like a coming into your own with the songwriting type thing. We're obviously dealing with some heavy subject matter, but just a couple of highlights from the record. You got Godspeed, which is a song that my band and I covered just about every show. You got Shivers Down Spines, which as of right now is the forerunner for the First Dance at Our Wedding song. So just a great record, top to bottom. Got some good love songs, but obviously, just dealing with the loss of his mom. So it's a brilliant record. If you feel like getting a little sad, that's the one for you.
Yeah, very cool. All right. And what else you got?
Yep. Next one up is going to be The Color and the Shape by the Foo Fighters. So I freaking love the Foo Fighters, obviously. We've talked about them probably just about as much as any other artist on this show.
Probably so.
But, My Hero, Monkey Wrench, Up in Arms, all those are in there.
Everlong.
This is kind of, the band starts to kind of take shape and hit stride. Obviously, that first self-titled record is great. We all love it. And it's got some legend, but this is kind of, I think, their sound starts to get established. Yeah. And this is also right around the time where some of these songs transitioned away from traditional radio play, and you started hearing them in these random spots kind of all around. And then, Everlong, I think, was the closer at every show that I've seen them with. So that's pretty cool. And then my third and final was Tyler Childers' Purgatory record. That's about as close to a perfect album as I think there is out there. Start to finish, no skips, no misses. Great songwriter, obviously. And, other than every drunk white girl at every bar show screaming for Feathered Indians every 5 minutes, I have no gripes about the record. I
was going to ask you about that one.
Oh my God, dude. If I never play Wagon Wheel or Feathered Indians again, it'll be too soon. I'm sick of it. But no, White House Road's a great tune. Honky Tonk Flame's a good one. Universal Sound's a weird one. It's about going up in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, and taking a bunch of mushrooms and meeting Jesus. So that's a weird subject matter. But then one of my favorite love songs, Lady May, to close out the record. So great album. This is kind of his definitive work. I'm very excited. His new record comes out Friday, so we'll see how that one stacks up. But highly would recommend all three of these. But Purgatory in particular, I think, is pretty damn near perfect. Yep. So that's mine.
Mr. Bishop chimes in with Days of the New, the Green Album, and Black Sabbath and Paranoid. That Black Sabbath album is that's chock full of hits. War Pigs, Paranoid. Gosh, what am I missing? There's an obvious one I'm missing. Iron Man. How could you forget Iron Man? So good stuff there. Really good stuff there. All right, Jolee, let's talk about what you have.
Okay, so what's funny, Drew, is that when I told Andy about this and we were going through favorite albums and whatever, he was like, "Well, obviously Foo Fighters," and I go, "Obviously, you already said that."
Duh. Thanks, Andy. That's why we're friends.
So that was on my list, but I chose other things. So first one would have to be Joan Osborne, Righteous Love. Mm-hmm. I love her. I love her soulful quality to her voice. I love when she first came out, I think it was Relish was her first album. God Was One of Us was a big one that was on the radio all the time. And she kind of got known for that kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't, that song to me is not representative of her voice. So Righteous Love to me, she really kind of sits into her vocal cords and this bluesy feel. So I love that entire album. And I picked things by what I had CDs of still, right?
Okay.
I don't want to throw away my CDs, but I don't think I have a CD player in my house or in my car. So that was number one. Number 2 was Mad Season by Matchbox 20. I love Matchbox 20. I went to a concert they opened up for Jars of Clay when I was in my 20s, and they were giving away that first album of theirs. They were giving away as like demos, and I got one, and the people I were with did not like them at all and gave me a hard time for getting their album. The boyfriend that I was dating at the time, I don't know why, they sucked, this, that. And then like a year later, or a year and a half later, that album started showing up and they were on the radio. And my boyfriend was like, I love this song. And I was like, you're so lame. I've been listening to this album for a year and a half now and you hated it. So that song Bent, I feel like any kind of 20-year-old kind of going through your 20s that you're struggling to kind of figure out who you are. You feel a little broken inside, like I don't fit anywhere. You know, I'm extra. Not everybody likes me. And in my 20s, that song, you know, really kind of spoke to me. So, so yeah, I love that album. Okay. And then my third and final album was Nirvana. Nevermind. So I feel like this is kind of an obvious one for obvious reasons. This came out, gosh, I should have written it down, but grunge kind of changed the scope of music, right? And it changed the scope of, there was very much like Bon Jovi before that. And so there was a little bit of hair metal, melodic kind of hair metal. And this just completely changed everything. So, yeah. Yeah.
Came out in 91, by the way.
There you go. So I was a sophomore in high school. And it just kind of, it really just changed things for everybody.
Yep. It definitely took music into a different direction. Yeah. At least for a season. And
flannels became really popular.
Yep. So Dave Grohl.
I would like to add that I was a freshman in high school, so I'm not quite as old as Jolee.
Yeah, listen, we're the same age, Amzie, okay? It doesn't matter.
Whatever makes you feel better.
Amzie got held back. Leave him alone.
It doesn't matter how old I am because Mike Lissack will always be older.
Yeah. I'm not getting in that conversation. I'm not getting in that conversation. Okay. Oh, I do want to comment about Joan Osborne for just a second because I think she's got a gorgeous voice.
Yeah, she does.
She did an album with our friend Steve Gorman, the first Trigger Hippie album.
Oh,
she was the lead female vocalist.
Yes, I love Trigger Hippie.
Yep.
Yes.
So there you go.
That's awesome.
There's your Bourbon Turntable connection. All right. Morgan, tell us what you have here.
I was going to choose, like NSYNC or something like that, but I didn't know how that would go over. I was even going to bust out, the whole like bye, bye, bye dance, but
that would be all right. Believe me, we just, had somebody tell us how great Rob Thomas is. So
it's all good. So one of my, go ahead, Jolie. What?
I was waiting for the Rob Thomas jokes because my husband already gave them to me, and I don't care. I came on Bourbon Turntable the first time and told you I loved Madonna, so it's fine.
That's okay. Madonna, what was her second album? You remember?
I believe it was. She had a couple of albums because I went to look, and it was kind of an unknown one, so I just skipped it.
Her second album was Like a Virgin.
No, I think she had a one before that.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. All right, Morgan. We'll skip this and we'll go back to Morgan, who has something important to say.
Jolie's kicked off the show. That's it.
So it wasn't his technical second album, but Kenny Chesney, I'm a huge fan of. Most of his older stuff, especially No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems. Especially those island vibes. It does make me sad about you know, our good friend Jimmy Buffett.
Yep.
Honestly, Jimmy Buffett was probably one of the best concerts I have ever seen in my entire life. But you know, life goes on.
Yeah.
Of course, those albums, songs would be Big Star and Young from that. Just good, you know, power songs to get you jiving in the morning, you know, or whenever. Next album would be 21 by Adele. I absolutely love Adele's voice, just
Yes.
everything about it. It's just so, you know, classical yet edgy, and just gives you the goosebumps and all the feels. From this album, it's Rolling in the Deep and then Someone Like You, which there's nothing wrong with belting out a good like power ballad in the car by yourself on the way home from work in the evenings while you're struck in the horrible Louisville traffic. So sometimes you just gotta let it go, you know? And then lastly, Switchfoot, The Beautiful Letdown.
Yeah. That's a great record.
My
It is a great
favorite song, probably in the whole world, is actually from this album, 24.
Yep.
I was
Cool.
part of an elite dance team in high school, and we actually danced to the song 24 and performed it on Broadway. So this song has a
Wow.
very special meaning to me. But the words are just beautiful inside and out. If you
Yeah.
actually take the time to listen to them. You know, you're having a bad day, listen to the song. You're having a good day, listen to the song.
Mhm.
It's just a good song. The
Yeah.
lyrics are just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
I think that could be said for most every track on that album. It's really it's not, you know, hey, let's all be happy, but it does kind of try to take looking at what your situation is and understanding that there's something more out there than what you may seem in your situation. So
yep, absolutely.
yeah.
I love that record all growing up. And Morgan, have you seen some of the re-releases and some of the producers that they're having redo songs off of
No,
that?
I have not.
Okay.
Enlighten
Well,
me.
I'll have to send you some stuff, but they're doing, I think it's 20th year anniversary, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're doing a big tour. They're going to play the record front to back, but they partnered with John Bellion, who, you know, he produces for the Jonas Brothers and Justin Bieber and all these people.
Okay.
He did a version of Meant to Live like 2 weeks ago. That was just this beautiful orchestral thing, but they're letting him redo a bunch of the songs in partnership for this tour. It's going to be great. I'm so stoked about it. I'll text it to you when we're done.
Cool.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That's awesome. And I'll say I'm not normally a Kenny Chesney listener, but I had a trip to the Keys with some friends, and we went on a fishing trip. And I am many things, but a fisherman is not really one of them. But it was just a chance to get away. We got out on the boat, got out on the water, and Kenny Chesney was the soundtrack. And so there's always a little soft spot in my heart for Kenny Chesney, even though in the album is No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems. He's wearing a shirt. Okay. Not that I'm wanting to see him shirtless, but you know, come on, man. All right. Amzie, you did not submit any sophomore albums in advance, but I do want to give you the opportunity to name any.
Yeah, I didn't, and so now I feel bad because we want to have the picture of those albums.
That's okay.
So I think the first one, I probably mentioned the first time I was on Bourbon Turntable, would be now. I'm going to back up. This is actually the first tape that my parents ever bought me. Okay, so when I had moved past the record player and listened to like Olivia Newton-John, Want to Get Physical, that didn't work for me. But the Cars, Candy-O. Okay, so that was a sophomore album by them. Also, if you're familiar with the Cars, Candy-O, what were my parents doing buying this for me? I was like a young boy, like 6, 7 years old, and Candy-O is like a fairly revealing woman on that cover. But they did love the Cars, love them to this day. Just recently bought a new truck. Has XM or Sirius radio in there or whatever. Haven't left the 80s channel in like, I don't know, 6 months now. That's all I listen to. Unless our daughter's in there and she makes me listen to, I don't know, some terrible kids channel, whatever it's called. But
so there's
there it
Candy-O.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, would you buy that for your like 6-year-old, 7-year-old son? I don't know, maybe, but great album. So love the Cars.
Absolutely great album.
Couple others. So Tool. Remember in high school, buddy of mine, Grayson Engelman, turned me on to Tool. That was probably still Undertow, but their sophomore album, Anima, however you say it, Anima.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody knows how to say that, but what a phenomenal album that is.
Yep,
so
I would agree.
Love that one. Interestingly enough, I was going to throw out some Pantera, but they had some weird albums but Pantera, a couple weird ones that I'd never heard of. I really thought Cowboys from Hell was like their first album. No, that was like their third or something. But so what I'm going to pretend is their sophomore for me would have been Vulgar Display of Power from Pantera. Unbelievable album. I mean, I Cowboys from Hell was okay, but Vulgar Display of Power, a whole different level. And then Far Beyond Driven, of course, after that were just great albums. But also, I've got to throw out one more, Smashing Pumpkins.
Yes.
Siamese Dream.
Siamese Dream.
Unbelievable. I still have this memory, like, just burned in there. Me and a friend, Scotty Miller, in front of North Harrison High School one year. That was his high school, not mine. It was snowing. We're in his, I think, like a Honda Accord, listening to Today. All right, doing donuts in front of the school in the snow. Some not like 2 or 3 in the morning. Like I don't know, we've been drinking or whatever. I'm not gonna say anything there, but just one of those memories that was like a. Today, doing those donuts burned into my memory forever is like one of the just happiest times of my life. Listening to that song, doing those donuts was great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Disarm is a great song. Cherub Rock has some of the best fuzz guitar of all time.
I want to throw out another crazy thing about Siamese Dream. Yep. I had bought that tape, once again, still back in the tape days, at Walmart because it looked cool, right? And I didn't really care for it. And then it was in the cassette player in my truck, and some Friday night for a football game, whatever, I got a concussion. I do not remember that evening of my life, okay? So the next morning I woke up, I felt sore, felt like maybe I'd had a football game the day before, but I didn't remember any of it. Woke up, talking to my dad. I don't think he believed me. Mom got home. I think they thought I was like joking or something. And
because concussions are funny.
Yeah. Like I don't remember the evening before. I must be joking, right? So finally they believe me. They take me to the hospital, and I get a CAT scan. They're asking me these questions. The doctor asked me the month and year. I got those wrong. I got the president right, whatever. But so it was determined I had a concussion. That night, apparently in my cassette deck, in my little Ford Ranger, was Siamese Dream, that album that I didn't really care for, but it was playing. And from that time on, I loved it. Like I did not like it before, but apparently I listened to it that night driving home that I don't remember because I had a brain injury.
Yeah.
But after that, I loved Smashing Pumpkins, loved Siamese Dream. So it's kind of a weird thing for me, but yeah.
Does it take a concussion to like Smashing Pumpkins?
I don't know, maybe. And actually, a friend and I ended up. It was, I don't know if it was that tour or one after, but we splurged, bought front row center stage seats to go see them. Garbage opened for them. Front Row Center Stage, great show. But yeah, I loved them after that. Like I said, I did not like them. Brain injury, listen to them apparently driving home.
What?
And then,
That's
I think they're a
like Billy
great band
Corgan.
now. Yeah.
Don't be like Amzie. Don't require a head trauma to have good taste in music. Oh man, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's a good list. Yep. Kevin, we got to hear yours, man.
All right. Well, Alan says, yes, I think I'm okay. I'm not really sure. We'll see. I won't let it happen again.
We can't see the Kenny Chesney poster just off to the side of him there. Probably.
No,
That's why he's got it cropped in kind of tight.
I have Fletch, and I have the first of my sophomore albums, Led Zeppelin 2. So that is okay. You talk about cassette. That was an album that I had on cassette in my turbocharged Monte Carlo.
All right.
And that's a great car album with a good set of stereo speakers in it, because it does some cool things, left side, right side, and a whole lot of love. It kind of circles you in part of the song, but it's a fantastic album. Lemon Song may be the best bass performance of any song ever. It's terrific. So Led Zeppelin 2. So I see this makes it easy because I know it's their second album because they numbered it. So, that's very important. Okay, second one, and Leonard Skinner's Second Helping. Again, they're helping me know that it's their second album because it says second in the album title. And everybody knows Sweet Home Alabama. That's the song the album starts out with. But this album's really, really deep. I think that you just got to dig into it. Working for MCA's on there. Needle and Spoon is on there. The Breeze is on there. And I just, I think that it's a fantastic album all the way around. It's hard for them to top their first album, pronounced Leonard Skinner. But I think they came close with this. And there's the second song on the album after Sweet Home Alabama is kind of a love ballad called I Need You. And if you want to redneck up your Sexy Times playlist, this is the song to do it with. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. I will leave it at that. Next, Black Crowes, Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. This came on the heels of Shake Your Moneymaker, which was a huge, huge hit. Band took off overnight, seemingly. But to me, their best album is this one. Sting Me is an opening track, one of the coolest opening guitar riffs there. Remedy, Black Moon Creeping, No Speak, No Slave. It's just awesome, awesome song after awesome song. So those are my three great sophomore albums. Anybody got any thoughts on those or any others that we left off the list?
So that's a pretty tough one to argue with. That Black Crowes record is outstanding. I went back and re-listened through their catalog the first time we had Steve on, and I was just blown away. Oh my god! I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I got one. It's sitting over here on my shoulder.
Yep.
But Amy Winehouse, Back to Black.
Yep.
Such a good record, man. Oh my gosh. I've been re-listening to that one driving around in the car all this week. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
If you're grunge era fans, Alice in Chains, Dirt, that was their second album. So that was really cool. good stuff. Them Bones, I think, was the opening track on it. Jimi Hendrix, Axis, Bold as Love. Little Wing, I think, was the last track on that one. REM. Any REM fans? Anybody REM? Reckoning, that was their second album. Really good stuff. So we can go on and on and on.
How
yes.
about real quick, second album for me? So the first one, Mom and Dad Got Me Candy-O. My second tape was AC/DC Back in Black.
Yep.
Not a bad
Pretty good one.
sophomore album.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, AC/DC's sophomore album was Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And, that is an album rife with sexual innuendo, but really, really good AC/DC music, which, I think they said they've done the same album 15 different times. But
yeah, I was going to say rife with innuendo as opposed to what? The entire
as opposed to what?
catalog?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man. All right. Well, any other thoughts, comments, second anniversary stuff, other sophomore albums, other whatevers?
at some point, can we get a picture of you in the Camaro listening to said music?
Well, it wasn't a Camaro. It was a Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo. That's right.
Yes,
Yeah, Monte Carlo.
yes. And for a while, I
We-
also drove an El Camino. So I'm all about your Spanish vehicles.
Yeah. Can we get pictures of both of those, maybe? Like,
It's highly doubtful. It's highly doubtful. People,
phone number.
what's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say we can text Cindy.
Yeah,
we
we'll
can find this out.
She won't have any of that.
Morgan, how about you work on this, and you could probably gather donations to get pictures of Kevin in these vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah, we can make money from this.
I will look. I'll see what we have. And he says, "Better dress like Kenny." No, I'm not doing that. Not doing that at all. Well, I tell you what,
It was probably more like Joe Dirt in the Carlo or the El Camino.
it was. Well, I don't
Probably a sweet mullet at the time. So
no. This haircut that you see here is the haircut I have had my entire life. Okay, with one notable exception, and if Shannon Hood's still watching, she'll appreciate this. In the 6th grade, when the Hardy Boys was on, and some of you may remember that show, some of you may not. But when the Hardy Boys was on, Sean Cassidy was on, and he had the whole hairstyle where it was parted in the middle. Okay, so my 6th grade class picture, I had that haircut and quickly abandoned it. So
that photo?
this is it.
Oh.
I don't know. It's probably around somewhere at my dad's house, but the world may never know. The world may never know. So yeah, so that's good. All right. What?
It's good. The world will never know.
that's good.
Yeah. All right. Before we leave, I do want to thank everybody for being on with us. Amzie, Jolee, and Morgan. Thank you all very much for being on to have a good time with us, celebrate a little bit with us, and keep everybody up to date with what you're doing. But Morgan, tell us again about Colors of Courage and Hope Scarves and what all people can do to help out that.
So September 22nd here in Louisville, Kentucky at Millwood Arts Center. If you want to join in person or there's a virtual option, you can purchase tickets at hopescarves.org. But most importantly, we need bottles of bourbon donated. You can message me and I can work with you. I can pick them up, or you can drop them off at the address below. And anytime Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it will help make the event a huge success and raise more money for research and clinical trials for MBC.
That's awesome. Awesome. And what's the deadline for getting bottles turned in?
If we could have everything in by next Wednesday, I know that's kind of a tight, window, but anything is greatly appreciated that we could get in that time frame.
Okay. So that's by the 13th. So make that happen. And if you need to reach out to Morgan, you can find her on Facebook. You have an Instagram page.
Yep.
So tell her, we're going to go around and tell everybody social media anyway. So go ahead and tell everybody yours so they can be sure to contact you if they need you.
You know what? I should probably look what my Instagram is because honestly, I don't remember.
I saw it today. I don't remember what it was either.
Yeah, right. Isn't that embarrassing? Go me. All right. So Facebook, I'm just under Morgan Wade. On Instagram, I am whiskeywoman00. And then on LinkedIn, I'm just Morgan Wade. So any of those, please feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome. Shannon Hood, stepping up.
Woo! Thank you,
Awesome.
Shannon.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Amzie Wenning. Where can people find you?
Well, real quick, Morgan, thank you. I intend to donate some bottles, and
Awesome. Thank you.
we'll get those to you before then. Bourbononthebanks.org. Remember, it's first Saturday in October, which is October 7th this year. Hope to see everybody there. You can also find me at frankfurtbourbonsociety.com.
Cool. Jolee, America's favorite redhead. Where can
Hello.
people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Testarossa, and you can follow Old Homestead at Old Homestead DC on Facebook and Instagram, and the winery at Patoka Lake Winery on both Instagram and Facebook.
Cool.
Check.
Cool. Drew Crowley, how about yourself?
You can find me on Instagram at drew.crawley63. I do have a website, although I have kind of slacked about adding the new dates for shows on there, but there are more coming. And then, wherever you listen to music, I've got some things out. I did get, I'll say this on here. I got the final artwork back for our new single
Nice.
today. So we are probably going to have to delay the record just a little bit longer. I can't stop writing songs I like better than songs that we've already cut. And so we're going to maybe push that back. But in the meantime, to hold people over, we're going to put out a single. So I'll be excited to announce some more about that in the coming weeks. And yeah, just be honored if you'd follow along and listen to the music wherever you choose to stream your music.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, Drew. As for our show, you can watch the show on YouTube. Maybe you're doing that right now. While you're doing that, go ahead and hit subscribe. It's easy. It's just a little button. Just hit that button. If you just want to listen to the show, you can on your favorite podcast platform, as long as it's Apple, Spotify, or Google. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows. We have a Facebook group that I learned today because Facebook reminded me. We've been doing the Facebook group for 1 year from today.
Nice.
So celebrating everything, 2 years with the show, 1 year with the Facebook group. I've known Shannon Hood for 2 years. It's just awesomeness all the way around. But anyway, on our Facebook page, we post things about what we're drinking, what we're listening to. I do that. Drew does that. Several of the folks that have been in the chat tonight have done that as well. So just kind of interact, give everybody your thoughts on whatever you may have in your glass or whatever you may have in your ear holes. So on behalf of Amzie and Morgan and Jolee and Drew and myself, I want to thank you for watching us. Thank you for sticking with us for the last 2 years, and here's to another year to come. Cheers, love, and free bird.
Cheers.
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 Good night, folks.